So Laurent, can you please elaborate that abysmal performance by Chelsea today?
Abysmal indeed. I mean, I don't know what to tell y'all. I'm pretty sure that my assessment of my club in the past few weeks, right, the past few episodes, uh, has already reflected what I think of where we should be, right? So this to me comes as no surprise. And I think I've said pretty much right all I needed to say about the club thus far. Yeah, this which is funny
Do
because last
you know
week
who you guys lost to yet?
listen, man. Beyond beyond that, right? Last week you tried to make a point of us playing in the Champions League in the upcoming season, and I stand by what I said, despite the points that you made, right? That Champions League football should be the standard that we should, look to strive for. Despite even, I think the financial gains that some clubs get from entering the competition, I personally do not think right now, the way things are, that Champions League football is something we deserve, if I'm being completely honest. The past performances highlight that. Today's performance puts a stamp on it. And yeah, no, I think for us, it's a matter of sorting out whatever needs to get sorted out before we enter, those big competitions, personally. So,
So you still confident that Chelsea go on to win the Conference League?
yeah, I mean, obviously, we're still pretty much favorites. But like I said, I told you guys, if we were to get to the finals and have performances like this, where the final is one game, it's not a return leg where you can, get the time to catch your bearings. We can easily not win the competition if it gets to that point. So for me, it's yeah, we should win it, but if we perform the way we are currently, I can see us not winning it at all.
Do you know the name of the next team that you're facing?
No, no, I do not.
Do you know what league they're potentially from?
I do not know.
It's a good start.
Yeah,
It's a good start.
yeah.
I'm just saying, man. Like, I know we'll get into some happier conversations, but man, Chelsea were ass. They were ass today. If it wasn't for Marco Correa, like it could have been 2-0. I honestly at one point I was like, is Chelsea gonna bottle this?
Hey, man,
Like
like,
there was nothing there. And it's really shocking. It's really like to me, and I know I'm not just trying to banter you. Like it was just really shocking to see with that lineup that you guys put out, like Nkunku, Jackson, Palmer, James, Dewsbury Hall. Like you guys had a pretty strong lineup, and to come out so flat at Stamford Bridge, if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be livid. Be livid.
I mean, like I told you, man. Funny enough, this is not even a surprising result at this point. Um, which I'm pretty sure you guys can sense by just my reaction, right? I'm not even surprised. If I'm being completely honest, right? At the end of the day, yeah, sure. You're facing a lower level team, still professionals, mind you. Which means that if you don't come in, right, playing the game to a certain level that you're expected to play, right? That team, all it took was a what? It was a PK,
Mm-hmm.
penalty kick, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's all it takes for them to be up and then gain the confidence and whatnot. But like I said, in terms of our play style, that creativity we have to get sorted because man, I have yet to understand how you have one, two, three, four, five. Like I don't know how many people they have on the sidelines with these computers, texts, iPads, like all this data in front of you, and you're not able to sort out like the issues at hand. Come the next, like you know what I mean? Like that to me is
Mm-hmm.
just um, it's one thing where it's okay if it's like the beginning of the season, right? But this performance we've seen across the season, many games. And
Mm-hmm.
it seems like, right, the same thing, the same problem is happening over and over again, right? Um, yeah, so I mean, like, I don't know what else to say at this point. I have no
Uh-huh.
defense. Uh, you know, still my club at the end of the day, right? I have to represent, but unacceptable, unacceptable. Yeah.
All right. Well, on that bombshell, welcome back. Episode 16. I'm trying to be tame, I'm trying to be controlled, I'm trying to be calculated, I'm trying to stay humble. A very smart man once told Mikel Arteta to stay humble, staying humble. The only thing I have to say is, what's that Spanish word that Real Madrid fans and players were saying all week? CJ, do you remember what that word was?
We might need a Google Translate because I
I,
already put that shit out in my head, bro.
I think they were saying something along the lines of remontada. I think the only thing that Real Madrid got a remontada of was Bukayo Saka scoring. He missed the penalty. He came back and he said, "Go fuck yourself." So again, as always, joined by my co-hosts, my brothers, CJ, diehard Arsenal fan, and Laurent,
Yep.
uh,
Let's get it.
a diehard Chelsea, Manchester United, Nottingham Forest. Am I missing another team?
Liverpool, Liverpool,
Liverpool. Thank you,
Liverpool. Yeah,
thank you, and
yeah,
a Liverpool fan. So
yeah, yeah.
um,
Can't forget that.
cannot cannot forget that at all. A lot of your teams are going to win something this year. But anyways, um, damn, 5-1 on aggregates. Arsenal beat the champions, the holders of the Champions League, 5-1. I don't like. I don't want to sound like a typical Arsenal fan and say, "Oh, we're gonna go win it all." Blah 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 blah. Blah. Like, there's still a tall task in PSG to come up, but that performance, it was out of this world. Was just out of this world. You could see, like, CJ and I were watching it at the pub. Like, you could see in the first 15, 20 minutes, the Madrid players they weren't interested in playing football. They were more interested in playing rugby. They're more interested in hitting the players. They're more interested in trying to get under Arsenal's skin and try to cause them to get some ridiculous yellow cards. There's no interest for them to play. But man, what a game! What a fucking game! I don't know, CJ. What's your like? I feel like you're still buzzing.
Bro, of course. Right before this pod, I just finished watching the 90 minutes back. I spent the whole 2 hours watching it as if I watched it live. You know, it's different. You know, when you're watching it at home, you know, you get the full audio experience. You hear everything, you hear the commentary, hear the atmosphere. Because that was what I was most intrigued about was how good the atmosphere was. You know, we couldn't really hear it watching from the pub. Um, so watching it at home, you know, sound bar on and everything, I got to actually hear the full atmosphere and what it was like in there. And I can only imagine how intimidating yet exciting it was for the players. But we just looked like we were not phased at all. You know, aside from one Thomas Partey moment of weakness or lapse of concentration where he got himself a silly yellow card. If anything, it was other way around. Real Madrid players were emotional. They were the ones looking for fouls, bitching at the referee, complaining, trying to get under our heads, and we pretty much stayed composed. Like I said, other than that one moment from Partey, you know, he got himself a stupid yellow card, and now he's out for the first leg of the semifinals. But otherwise, we look like the team that have been there, done that before. Like you would never think that this was an Arsenal team that's gone to the Bernabéu for the first time in 16 years or whatever since 2006. Um, you would never think that this is an Arsenal team that hasn't been to a semifinals of the Champions League since 2009. Arteta, his first time, you know, in this position as a manager. A lot of these players are experiencing these firsts. It's like it's crazy. It's crazy how much I think, you know, we showed us experience for a team with lacking experience in that sense. You know, I just find that, yeah, I'm very proud of the boys. There's a very mature performance overall from the coach, from the players, from everybody involved with Arsenal. So amazing position for us to be in. I couldn't be more proud, honestly, as a fan. And we were all watching it yesterday. We were watching it together in Merdad, and in the moment, man, like probably the most nervous I've been watching an Arsenal game, and I've been nervous watching many Arsenal games, but that one for sure was just, especially in the period where they had the chance for the penalty, and that took
Yep.
about what 6, 7 minutes. Like that period for me was like that was like the most stressful thing I probably been through, man. Like we were sitting there, like, is he gonna give it? Is he not? Like, and before we get into the details of what we think about that call, whether we think it was right or wrong, yeah, I just think that period there that changed the game, because if they get the penalty and they convert it, it's 1-0 very early on in the game. We're probably seeing a different game, potentially. Who knows how it would have played out at that point, especially
I
off the
mean,
back of Saka just missing his penalty.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. I mean, if they got that penalty and Saka had converted, it would have been 1-1. But because he didn't convert, the momentum would have fully shifted to Madrid's side, and that was. I think both you and our anxiety started rising after the Saka miss, and then when it
Mm.
came to the penalty, we both peaked of like, holy shit, is this like where the downfall begins? Because that was probably the most intense 7-8 minutes. Like I kept telling you, I'm like, if it's taking this long, that means they're gonna have to reverse it. Like they're not gonna spend 7-8 minutes to try to reverse it. And it's when I listened to Carlo Ancelotti after the post match conference, he even said himself, he wasn't complaining that it should have been given as a penalty, but he's like, that's the moment that we needed, right? It was
Mm.
almost like him conceding that it probably wasn't a pen. And you know it. We've all played football. Like when you know it's a foul, all the players are going to go to the ref. But after that foul, like just a reaction from the Madrid players, it wasn't like an urgent reaction to be like, oh, that was a foul, that's a foul, that's a foul. It was just a very like, oh, like give us the foul, blah 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 blah. And you even saw when Vasquez was talking to Declan Rice, and even Bellingham trying to talk to Rice, like they were just trying to justify it. I didn't see like a reaction in their eyes to say that was a true pen. Um, but man, like that, like you said it perfectly. It almost looked like we were the holders. It
Mm.
didn't look like Madrid was the holders, and it's very shocking to the extent that the fans and the players and like the publicity the entire week after the performance, talking about remontada this, remontada that, Vinny posting 9 p.m. Wednesday, like it's like Arteta said it perfect. He's like, we're just going to talk on the field. In his pre-match conference, he just said, you know what, we're just going to leave the talking to the field. And did they do that? And did they do that well?
Well,
Um,
that's what I think. I also believe Real Madrid, they kind of shot themselves in the foot. Like they almost overdid it with this whole, pre-Netflix story, remontada, and bro, like the game hasn't even kicked off yet. They haven't, and they're all doing the most. Like it's like the game before the game, and we didn't fall
yeah,
for any of that nonsense. Like they made it this whole big thing, um, putting it out in the media because they wanted to get through to the Arsenal camp and get into our heads that we're going to put the lid on before the game, and on the Bernabéu before the game, and we're going to do things that we've never done before. The fan base and the ultras are going to, the atmosphere is going to be like nothing we've ever seen, and this and that. And then it's like, again, you almost overdid it. Like you're over emotional, and the players are overthinking it now, and they're overthinking the occasion instead of just letting their talking happen on the pitch. It just it struck me as like a team who, again, roles reversed. They've never been here before, so now it's all about hyping the occasion more than it needed to be. Like, shut up and play your football, and let your football do the talking. Like, don't have to build up this whole pre-game thing. Like, I don't know. It was a little bit too much in my opinion, and then you can tell that's how it played out on the field with
mm-hmm.
their emotional reactions and the way they were going about the game and the way they were fouling and so on. But
It's almost like they
before we
didn't
continue,
want.
though,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, no, I was gonna say like I've been very curious for a while because Laurent didn't watch it with us. So I'm very curious, Laurent, to know where you stand on the game and just the 90 minutes as a whole. Do you have any different thoughts to me and Merdad?
No, actually. So I don't know if you guys remember last podcast. when you were doing predictions and whatnot, I did mention that most likely Real Madrid would be flustered, right? They would come in losing their cool and whatnot, right? Given the position they are in. Vinny Jr., right? Mbappe, like, they'd be showing that immaturity. I don't know if you guys recall me saying that last podcast. If not, right, it's there live
It's
on the web.
recorded.
Yeah, so you can always go back and yeah, just find that segment. But all in all, um, beyond that, I'm not taking anything away from the Arsenal performance because the Arsenal performance was the one again during that segment that I said would be needed from you guys, right? Just composed, baiting them out, right? I use chess as a reference, knowing what they're going to do, and you know, forcing them to play a certain kind of game, and you guys would just pick your chances, kind of thing, right? Because you guys already had the 3-0 lead, right? But beyond that, I honestly think that Madrid had a terrible game. It was a terrible night from beginning to end for them. When you contrast that with the other games that occurred where the teams were down and they had to go in and scavenge something, right? Villa, um, Dortmund, Barca, right? Uh, Even today, some Europa League games, right? And you can see how it looks when a team is in a position needing to score, right? Needing to climb out. Like it's a different game, right? And for whatever reason, Madrid was not able to recreate that, right? Which is why even my prediction, I did give it a high
You
scoring
said
game.
3-2 Madrid.
Yes, and the reason why I said that, right, is because when you look at those type of games, usually what ends up happening, it is back and forth. It is back and forth, right? Um, Villa, right? Villa, PSG. It's the same idea, right? They're pushing, they're pushing, they're pushing. If they push too much and they have gaps, right? Like kind of like PSG took advantage of that on the counters,
Mhm.
right? It leads to goals on the other end, right? So that's why to me, I thought this would be the kind of games that we saw today and yesterday, where uh, the one team is doing everything, right? They're to pick the lock, and at the same time, right? Obviously, you guys would take your chances when they came to you, right? But it was just very odd, man. And at some point, it almost seemed like Madrid didn't even know what they were doing out there. Just throwing
No,
in,
they got
yeah.
into their heads, like CJ said. Like I think they they got overly emotional. You saw it in the first 5, 10 minutes. They were not playing football. They
Mm,
were not playing. They couldn't string 3 or 4 passes together. As soon as they would lose the ball, the first thing they would do is try to like make tackles. And I don't want to say all of them were dirty, but like the Rudiger tackle on Maslow Skelly, like fully stomping on his stomach, should have been a straight red. You know what you're doing as a player at that level. David Alaba almost breaking Saka's leg, 2-footed slide. Um, like there's so many. Bellingham tossing Timber to the ground and just like just don't do that. Like these things, like when you go back, like as an Arsenal fan, the only thing I think about like is I'm like, okay, if what if it was Granit Xhaka that did that? Straight red, double red. They would have given him like a 15-game suspension. But because he's wearing the Madrid jersey, nothing. You're just gonna shake the ref's hand and move on to the next play. I think they, like CJ said, I think they hyped them up too much. And the one thing I was gonna say is I don't think Madrid actually watched the Amazon Prime documentary, because if they had watched the documentary, they wouldn't have done any of that. Because you know what Arteta did with that, a la the Ivan Toney tweets.
Mhm.
He definitely just, you know, pub in the dressing room. He just posted everywhere what the Madrid players were saying, what the media was saying. REMON-NADA saying that Arsenal can't do it. They're closing the roof. They're doing this, and this, and that. The one thing that I forgot is that Rice cooks better with the roof, with the door closed. So I mean, Rice was cooking. But man, like it was. I couldn't believe my eyes at some points when I was like, is this really what's happening? Like Danny Carvajal coming to Saka at halftime, try to like get under his skin. CJ, I couldn't find the video yet, but like,
I
he
saw
like,
it.
yeah, like he grabbed his neck, and
Yeah, I saw
apparently
it.
UEFA's looking into it so that he might get suspended even further. Like the fact that they have to go to this extent, honestly, to me, I'm like, damn, they really respect Arsenal. Because a lot of like you always banter us a lot. Like, let's be real, Arsenal's never won anything in the Champions League. We don't have a European trophy. This is our second time getting to the semifinals. We've been to the finals once before, which we lost to
Third,
Barcelona.
third. This will be
Third,
our
sorry,
third, by
third.
the way.
Sorry,
But
third time. But like we haven't won anything. And the amount of respect that I feel like we were given by Real Madrid, like it goes to show what Arteta and these players have done to deserve this amount of respect. Because Madrid clearly knew like 3 goals is like a 5-6 goal deficit because Arsenal's defense is that strong
sorry.
and our game style is that strong. So,
Which is what I was saying before the game, but for whatever reasons, you guys weren't seeing it the way I was seeing it, man.
yeah,
Like,
because it's still. But okay, listen. This is what Arteta said. I don't, CJ. I don't know if you listened to this in some of the interviews when he post match when he was talking to Brian Keon and I forgot who else pitch side post match. The first thing he said, he's like, we knew that we could do it, but this is my first time being. This is Arteta, and I'm just paraphrasing a little bit. So we know we could do it, but this was my first time being on the sidelines of the Bernabeu. And once I was standing there and I'd kick off, at that moment it hit me that it does make sense why people say that anything can happen at this stadium. Like the weight of the Bernabeu actually hit him. He said that in a post-match press conference after Arsenal won, but like that's why, at least for me, I don't know, CJ, if you felt the same, but for me, that's why I was not overly confident going into it. Yes, it was 3-0, but like anything could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Anything could have happened. And the fact that we got out of it, I mean, it goes to show that we were able to keep our heads because we could have got into their game, right? We could have started tackling. We could have got stupid yellow cards, and we could have played their game, but we didn't. And that goes to show the work that Arteta's done on these boys.
Well, I think too, like if you really, and I know we should probably start analyzing the game now in certain key moments and stuff, but what's happened this week in terms of like again Villa, PSG the day before, Dortmund, Barca, like some of these ties that you think are done and dusted, it's like this is football, man. Like anything can happen, and if those clubs like a Villa and again a Dortmund are kind of pulling the deficit in the second leg, who's to say that Real Madrid could not have done the same? Like 3-0 is a dangerous scoreline essentially when you're playing at Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. Like we've seen how quickly goals can come in, and again, it was referenced. Laurent referenced the Europa League games today as well. Like I didn't get to watch the United game, but I'm looking at it and like 4-2, they're down. I'm looking at my app and I see 4-2, they're down with minutes to go. I'm like, yeah, they're out, they're over, it's out, like they're out, it's done. How are they going to pull 3 back? And then boom, look how quickly things can flip. And respectfully, these are teams like United who are, we all don't rate at this moment in time. So again, who's to say that Real Madrid can do the same? And that's why I've been trying to tell people, and even Laurent yourself was saying that it was done after the first leg. I don't know if it was just banter, if you actually believed that, but I was just trying to tell people, like, look, man, this thing is not over because this is football. It's Madrid. It's the Bernabeu. And I'm telling you now that if they had got that penalty in their favor and they go up 1-0, bro, I don't even want to think about how things could have changed, So overall, yeah, I mean, to get out of there with a win, like you said, I would have been still ecstatic with a 2-1 that I predicted for Madrid. If we lost the game but still go through, I'm still celebrating. I'm still bouncing around. But the fact that we won the game is even more, like, again, I sit here today and it hits me now. It's like, wow, we went to the Bernabeu and we added to our history. We haven't done that since the Thierry Henry days when Henry went to the Bernabeu. And, we've seen clips of that over the years of, that magic of that night and Henry just running through and on goal and being the first English club to win there. We've now, imprinted a new chapter in the history books of what the likes of Saka and Martinelli have done with those goals. We're going to see those type of iconic goals on replay for years to come now, because this is just another historic night for the Arsenal at the Bernabeu, So a really big shout out to the players and of course Arteta for being able to put us in this position. 100%. Everyone to a man stepped up. Everyone to a man had a good game. And there's nothing more to it. Really, like we see ourselves now in a semifinal and with the chance to go all the way. Because when you beat the holders and arguably the best European club out there, the expectation now is that you need to go on and win it. You shouldn't be fearful of anybody. That's the way I see it.
So wait, so let's back up for 1 second. So let's just break down a couple key moments that I wrote. I know you and I had a lot to say about this penalty miss by Saka, but Laurent, I just want your take. What did you think of Saka's miss Panenka? He did say, just for reference, he did go on the CBS Golazo show, and he did say afterwards to Thierry, Micah Richards, and Jamie Carragher that, he's like, I tried something, it didn't work. If it had worked, I would have been a genius, but because it didn't work, I'm wrong. But I also went and scored. So what's your breakdown of it? What, as a non-Arsenal fan, as a football fan, what did you think? What did you make of that penalty attempt?
Okay, so let's rewind a bit from when the penalty was given. Odegaard was holding the ball. From that angle, and I think even the commentators pointed it out, everyone thought he was going to take it. But once it came down to it, Saka was the guy at the spot, and in real time, like when he missed, actually when he was running up to it, and as soon as he made contact, I'm thinking, oh, this guy's chipping the keeper, right? And you're thinking it's working out until you realize he chipped it the same way the keeper's going. At that point, I look at it two ways. From one way, like I'm thinking, okay, it's a bad PK in the sense where you should have just shot it in a way that is high, a high chance of conversion, right? Whether you're trying to lace it, right? Nothing cheeky. But in the other way that I look at it is, well, here's a guy, he's just trying to express his confidence, right?
Make his mark.
Yeah,
they were all compete.
Exactly.
They were all comparing him to Rodrigo, Vinny, Mbappe. So he's trying to.
Exactly. And heck, man, like you're on a big stage. It's a big occasion. You feel like the man, then show the world you're the man. And to me, I give him points for even attempting that. At the end of the day, the fact that he missed at this point, right, is it's the fact that he attempted it. Because a lot of guys, right, they step up to the plate. It's these kind of occasions. Again, we're talking about the weight of the occasion, right? The Bernabéu, whatnot. And a lot of guys are going to go with what's safe. Oh, man, maybe I'll just side-foot it, right, with the go-to. But this, it shows audacity. And this is what you want to see, if anything. If I'm an Arsenal fan, I want to see players having audacity. Heck, if I'm talking to any Chelsea players out there, right, look to that. And that's what we want to see. We want to see audacity. We want to see players taking risk with the passes, right? You're not just going to what's familiar. That to me is like the beauty, the art of football. And kudos to him. Like fuck, he missed. At this point, like no Arsenal fan should be giving him shit for missing that.
Yeah, wait, Laurent, can we just pause for 1 sec? Can you just go get a thermometer? I just want to make sure that you don't have a fever, because this is like the praise that you're giving to Arsenal right now. I just need to make sure that you're healthy and you're well.
Hey man, listen, I just like to see beautiful football, right? That.
Yeah, what are you drinking? Did you get into my stash array? Like, what are you drinking, bro?
That's no. I didn't drink anything. Maybe next. No, but no, for real though. Like,
in my opinion, it wasn't the right time to attempt that. Playing devil's advocate.
I can see why you're saying that, but man, you got to think about it this way, man. Had he made that, poof, I think it would have killed it for a lot of those Madrid players. Like the audacity after you did all of that, right? Like you guys talked about the pre-game social media frenzy that they gave you guys, and to have a player come in and do that underground, right? So nonchalant, like bro, I think that to me would have killed the morale, bro. Like, you see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's one of those, yeah, you could say, okay, he shouldn't have did that, but you got to praise that. Because now you can see that he has that audacity. Imagine what he can do next game against PSG. You You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, allow him to,
Yeah,
yeah.
for me, there was never any doubt that Saka was going to still go on and have a good game because his mentality is just that. Like, I was almost surprised. No, sorry, I was not surprised in the end that he did attempt it because, like I said, Saka's mentality is just so elite that he could miss. He's missed big pens before. He's missed in the Euros final against England when he was for England. Sorry, when he was a lot younger. And he's still such a young man, and he's bounced back from these occasions and adversity so many times. And he took it personally when the commentators in the pre-match press conferences were talking to him about being compared to the Madrid front three, the Mbappes and the Vinny's and the Rodrigos, and they're essentially saying that he's not on their level yet, and he was almost like offended by that because like, what do you mean? Like, Saka in his mind, he'll believe that he's at that level or he should be, so him attempting a Panenka like that in the Bernabeu doesn't surprise me in the end. I just still don't think it was the right time because again, like if you're like a Zinedine Zidane, who I don't know if you guys would have remembered this, but he
The World Cup.
In the World Cup final. This guy did a Panenka
Yeah.
bar down on Buffon, one of the best goalkeepers of all time. If you're established like that and that stage you're familiar with and you're used to, it's not really like surprising. You've been there, done that. You have that experience. You're already the guy. So it's like Zidane chipped a PK in the World Cup final. Not really surprised, But for someone like Saka, who again, a lot of these Arsenal players are still trying to stamp their name on European football, on world football, because they haven't been at this stage before. So you would think that first and foremost, just convert the PK. Convert the PK, like don't do anything silly, don't do anything smart, just convert the PK. You're now writing your name and now you're cementing your name into Arsenal folklore or legendary status, or even if you convert a regular PK. If you converted it, you're still getting the same praises as you did if you convert the Panenka because you're scoring at the Bernabeu, you're scoring.
No, man. It would not be the same, and you know that. The audacity.
I have to side
from
with
like,
Laurent on
bro,
this.
this guy,
I
like,
really,
if go on,
no, go.
Yeah, no. So I'm saying, if he converted that normally, and you guys rate him at like a 10, but had he did the same thing with a Panenka, bro, on an elite keeper, who people are saying is the best keeper currently at present time, bro, you guys would have. Like, I swear this guy would have got a statue the next morning, bro, like at the Emirates, bro. Like,
yeah, I have to
that's some real
agree.
shit, bro.
Because he even said it post match in like a Lazo show, right? He's like, if I converted it, I'm a genius. If I didn't convert it, then I'm wrong for it. Like I agree with what you're saying, CJ. It with the heat and the pressure that the game had at the beginning, he should have just converted it.
Just convert it. Because, like you said, Laurent, yeah, you might not get the same praise, but your name is still the one in the headlights. Whether it was a Panenka, whether it was a regular penalty, his name is still in the headlights in the newspaper the next morning saying Saka converts pressure penalty at the Bernabeu, to send his team through to the semifinals. Like, I get he wants to do it in style. So look, we were all upset with him at the time. We can all agree that we were pissed because we're like, dude, just fucking convert the pen. Like, convert the
especially when they almost had the pen on the other side. Yeah.
Imagine here, and here's the balls of it all, like the bravery of it all is imagine he misses that Panenka. He looks like an idiot because first of all, if I mean, we're not professional footballers, but a lot of us, would know if you know the game that if you are gonna, do a Panenka down the middle, like you're not gonna Panenka on the Courtois guesses right. He Panenka's almost, he tries to put it in the corner. He gets it horribly wrong. If you're gonna Panenka, just down the middle, while you made the keeper look even worse because he's dove and you just dinked it, right down the middle. Like those are the best Panenkas to see. But yeah, man, like again, the bravery is so much so that you miss that. And then the fine margins of football is that Madrid gets that PK in their favor. They go up 1-0, and then you can only imagine the kind of slander Saka would have gotten if that game goes completely wrong. I don't even want to think about the kind of slander he would have got. So I know, Laurent, you're talking about him potentially, 0 to 0 status. He goes from potentially getting a statue outside the Emirates for that Panenka, or he goes into complete, he has to go into hiding because of how the media and the fans and everyone's going to, shame him for doing something like that. But I said,
go on.
Yeah. No, I was just going to kind of say that although I was pissed off at the time that he did that, and I think he just played it safe and put us up 1-0 and get us going, get us on the board. Whilst I was pissed at the time, I wasn't worried about him and his individual performance, if that makes sense, because I knew he would bounce back because Saka, like I said, his mentality is just different level. Like I knew it wasn't going to affect his individual performance, and it showed later in the game when he scores. Ironically enough, he still chips the keeper to score. So
Yeah.
yeah, fair play to the lad. But yeah, what were you going to say?
Yeah, no, so I mean, just to highlight, right, when you talked about like the two possible outcomes, right, where if he missed, and then Madrid scores, right, it could have been a completely different game. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the beauty of those kind of decisions, right? Uh, it's you have to risk. You have to risk something. If you're not risking anything, right, there's no weight, there's no value to whatever it is that you're doing, right? Um, which is why, like, you risk big, you can lose a lot, but then, right, your upside is also there, right? So, to me, man, if I'm an Arsenal player, I'm just like in my head, I'm like, listen, you got to come with that same energy versus PSG. I want to
Yeah.
see that. I want to see that creativity. I want to see that flair. I want to see you embarrass players, bro. Nuno Mendes, he pocketed Salah
Salah.
in your home league, right? The winger in the same position, bro. Show the guy the works. Show him, like, you know what I mean. Like I want to see you come with that, like with that heat. And yeah, like and then if you, bro, imagine that, bro. The guy, he comes in versus PSG, and he's the guy that brings you guys to the finals, bro. It's like at that point, yeah. Then you go talk to the commentators and like, Rodrigo, so what? You know, Vinny, so what? Like, but he has to take the risk.
I agree. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think he can do it without taking a Panenka penalty, in my opinion. But I definitely agree to a certain extent.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's shift gears to someone who went from a zero to a hero. Jakub Kivior, monster performance over two legs, absolute monster performance. Um, Next to William Saliba, the only goal that they scored was Saliba's fault. I think it was just a lapse in concentration. But we all sat here in the podcast before the Madrid first leg, and we all sat here and said, I said it. I said I was, probably like 70-30 confidence that Arsenal would have won. And I came down to maybe 60-40 or 50-50 with the Gabriel injury. But man, Jakub Kivior, like, like I was not expecting this. And I know, CJ, you were hella nervous, but what's your take on the two legs? Like, would you give him his plaudits?
Yeah, for sure. I'll probably spend like a minute or two at most talking about him because I think he did well. Like, there's other players I think that deserve more a spotlight than Kivior. But he definitely surprised me, and he did his thing. Like I'm proud of him from an Arsenal perspective. I'm proud of him. I think he more than held his own. And whether we keep him or sell him this summer, his value goes up based on his performance over these two legs against, again, one of the best front threes in the world. So. No, definitely big ups to him. And yeah, funny enough, he wasn't even the one that made the mistake to concede. It was William Saliba. So I think he had a brilliant performance over two legs. He really did.
And I think the two players that I think you want to spend more time on are shut down wingbacks, Jurrien Timber and Miles Skelly. What is there to say? They faced Rodrigo, Mbappe, Vinny Jr., and they nullified them. Like, absolutely nullified them. I'm just gonna just take a second to just explain to everyone, for the listeners. Jurrien Timber came back from a torn ACL and has been forced to play almost 90 minutes every single game in the Premier League because Ben White has been injured. Now, for anyone who's had an ACL injury or a significant injury like that, the amount of load that this guy has had to take on is ridiculous. And to perform to the level that he's performing, last year we were saying, Jurrien Timber's a big loss, blah, 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 blah. And all the rival fans were saying, what are you talking about? You have Ben White, you have this, you have that. Like, there's a reason why Arteta wanted Timber. He is arguably the best one-on-one defender, in my opinion, in the world.
Oof.
in my opinion.
Oh, he is. He is one of
As
the best
as a,
players.
as a
What
wing back,
lockdown? Yeah.
he's listen to the players he's locked down: Mbappe, Vinny Jr., Mohamed Salah. Would you not? Would you not? Would you not agree that those are probably the three top wingers in the world, and he's nullified them. Period. Hard stop. Like they didn't do shit. And then on the other side, he's 18. He's fucking 18 years old, and he had the audacity at the end of the game. I don't know if you guys saw this. He had the audacity at the end of the game to go up to Jude Bellingham and say, "Where was the remontada?" That's why Bellingham didn't shake his hand. Like, yo, that I don't know, CJ. Were you thinking of those two men that needed more plaudits than Kivior, or are we not on the same wavelength?
Yeah, no, like them two for sure. I'm just so one thing Arteta's really done, I have to say, one thing Arteta's really done is he's given us a team that we can fall in love with again. Like there was a period of time under the late Wenger years and then the early Unai Emery years where you just hated every single player you were watching. Like Mustafi, I couldn't stand. Bellerin, I
Oh
wanted him
God.
deported. So Socrates, I wanted him like in prison, bro. Like I just wanted half of the squad out at the time. Like I couldn't stand. Eddie Nketiah was probably the last of that group. But I'm telling you, man, no, Bellerin. I wanted Bellerin deported out the country, fam. Like these mans, I did not recognize. I'm like, these are not players for my football club. They're not good enough. I'm sorry, But sorry,
Yes.
under Arteta, like he's given
Wait,
us
hold on. Can we
players.
just pause? This man said, "I
Yeah,
want this man deported."
yeah.
Yo,
We were looking at guys that literally could not defend. Like it was clown football on the pitch, bro. It was like Dumb and Dumber. It was like, nah. It was shambles, bro. We were legit banter era them times. Like it was horrible to watch.
Oh, shit,
But now
sorry.
we have a team and we have defenders who no nonsense. Like we're talking back to like our Invincibles days and before then, with the Tony Adams and the Keowns and the no nonsense. Bro, nobody is bullying this Arsenal team. Troy Deeney will have to backtrack on what he said about the lack of cojones. If he talks about this Arsenal team, he can't say that about this Arsenal team. From Saliba to Gabriel to Timber to Lewis Skelly at 18 years old to our midfield, which I'm going to touch on in a second. You are not bullying this Arsenal team. Like this is a different side to that Wenger team and those teams that used to get bullied off the pitch. You're not bullying us, right? So yeah, I just love these individual players. And again, as a defender, I can appreciate them so much more, like a defenders union, center backs union sort of thing. I really do appreciate these defenders and this back line that we have. And this could be our back line for years to come, man. Like, again, Lewis Skelly is 18 years old. Yurian Timber's in his early 20s. Saliba's mid-20s. Gabby's, he's approaching his prime. Like, we can have the formidable back four similar to the one, like, what's his name? Our previous manager with the Tony Adams and Keon and Dixon back four, the legendary back four, Winterburn. What was his name? Why does his name escape me now? Our manager before Wenger. But anyways, we can have that type of back four where, these guys, again, are established in Arsenal folklore for years to come. This back line
George
from
Graham.
right to left. George Graham. Thank you very much. Elite. Again, when you compare it to our Invincibles back line, from right back, you have Lauren to Ashley Cole at left back, Campbell and Torrey center backs. Like this version of our back four now is up there. If we keep them together, it'll be up there with some of the best back lines we've ever had. And obviously now all that needs to come with that is the trophy success, to really establish these guys. Because we're looking at some of the best players and defenders we've ever seen. And not just defenders. All of them can play ball. Like I said, Bellerin, Mustafi, and those guys who, whenever we used to give them the ball in possession, you had a heart attack because you just knew they'd do some bozo shit and turn the ball over, right? Everybody who gets the ball now, they can ball. They can knock ball. You see what I'm saying? Saliba, comfortable with the ball at his feet. Timber, comfortable with the ball at his feet. Lewis Skelly, you see what Lewis Skelly was doing out there? How we talked about it yesterday, Murdan. How strong is that kid for 18 years old? You cannot bully him off the ball. The man he's elite on the ball, but he's also strong. You're not pushing him. You're not shoving him. That's the difference between him and Zinchenko. Zinchenko obviously is elite on the ball. We know that, and he brings what we want in possession from that inverted fullback role, but he's weak, right? He doesn't have the strength. Louis Skelly does what Zinchenko does, but he's strong, he's quick, he's mobile. And so lastly, before I want to turn the floor over to you guys again, I want to spend the time talking about our midfield really this game, and that was where I was going, Merdad, and saying we need to spend the spotlight talking about certain players. I need to touch on Thomas Partey and Declan Rice, man. Like, that midfield has just turned over Real Madrid's midfield, the Galacticos midfield, right? Like, we're talking about players that everybody wants in world football. We're talking about Camavinga. We're talking about Tchouaméni. We're talking about Jude Bellingham. We're talking about Valverde. We're talking about Luka Modric, but Declan Rice, like I said last pod, Declan Rice has pretty much just showed Modric the door and said, all right, it's time to retire. Like, Modric will be looking at these two legs and saying, yeah, I can't keep up. I can't run with these guys anymore. I'm 39 years old. You can't compete at this level when you're playing midfielders like Declan Rice and Thomas Partey, who are just all over the place, who are just covering ground, and man, like, for me, Declan Rice is becoming one of my favorite Arsenal players, man. Like, the guy, in my opinion, he would be my captain. His mentality is just elite. Like, he may not be the best technical footballer, but his mentality, his attitude, his character, his drive, he's just, nothing can stop that guy. Like, when we talk about audacity, Laurent, we're talking about guys taking Panenkas. Declan Rice, again, I'll go back to it. 2 back-to-back free kicks in the first leg. That already establishes you. You go down in Arsenal history for that. That is that audacity in the right way. That is nerve. That's balls. And then he went to the Bernabéu and kept his head and shut these guys down again. And if anything, he's yelling at guys like Thomas Partey because Thomas Partey is picking up stupid yellow cards, right? And you see Declan Rice giving him an earful. Like, that's my captain. I'm sorry. That's what I want to see from my leader. I just think Declan Rice is amazing, man. And he's 100 mil well spent. You can't say that about a lot of players nowadays, but that's 100 mil well spent. If anything, we probably owe West Ham. Bro, we probably owe West Ham more money.
If Moises Caicedo went for 120, 125, Declan Rice is easily 150 plus. Easily. Like, David Moyes is right. 100%. David Moyes is right. He's still annoyed that West Ham sold him for 100, but yeah. For me, actually, sorry, go ahead.
No, continue first, and I'll
no, I was gonna say I don't really have anything to add to that. That's, you're bang on right with your assessment.
Yeah, no, I think when we're talking about Declan Rice, actually, we have to refer to something that happened in the penalty incident, and I think I know we've been spending a lot of time talking about this, but I think it's very important to debrief this game properly and talk about key talking points, because I don't think we can skip this game without talking about the penalty incident at the other end for Real Madrid. I'm very curious to know your guys' thoughts before I give mine. I think, Laurent, I want to know your thoughts on this penalty, or this reverse penalty that was given for Real Madrid, or not given. In your mind, Laurent, is that a penalty? Explain why. Yes or no?
Yeah, I'm laughing because freaking, what's his name? Mbappe? Just, that guy, nah, man. He
Disgrace.
was looking for something, bro. Look, yeah, no, in real time you can see why it got called, but after they reviewed it, right, you realize, he's trying to throw himself right, create something out of nothing. But fuck, that was desperate attempt. Close but no cigar, as they say, right? I know that gave you guys a heart attack, though. Shit, I think everyone watching that was on the edge of the seat. Mind you, the time they're taking to make these decisions was was only adding to the suspense. But yeah, no, referee got it right, so that's what counts.
Merdad?
Yeah, I didn't think it was a penalty. And the only thing that I'm frustrated with that is why didn't Mbappe get a yellow for simulation?
Good point.
Like, if you're gonna reverse it, you give a yellow to Declan Rice for a so-called foul and you rescinded it, you should get a yellow for simulation. You just wasted 7 minutes of the game by simulating. That's the same thing as kicking the ball away, in my opinion.
Because it was a disgraceful dive, let's be honest. Like, the fact that it even took 7 minutes, I heard them talking about this on the commentary, and this is why I like to watch the games back, these type of big games, for the audio content. And the commentator was saying it took them 7 minutes to tell the referee to go look at the screen? Why don't you send the
Yeah.
referee to the screen earlier so he can assess it? Because when the referee finally got to the screen to look at it, he looked at it for like, what, a minute? Less than a minute. And said, okay, yeah, no PK. So why did it take so long to tell him to go to the monitor? Send him to the monitor early enough so that we don't waste 7 minutes of our life for what was a disgraceful decision. And like Laurent said, in real time, you can 100% see why he gave it, especially considering we got the PK in our favor on the other end for something similar. So you have to understand why the referee gave it. But Mbappe completely conned the ref, and for that he should have gotten a yellow card because he almost got away with that.
Yep.
It was a disgraceful dive.
Yep. But yeah, to all Madrid fans, see you next year. Number 15 will stay there on your jersey for another year. 16, you're gonna have to wait for it. Just hopefully you can salvage your year by making a comeback in La Liga and the Copa del Rey, because Barca spanked you twice. They're about to spank you for a third time. But yeah. Shifting gears a little bit to who we're gonna face next round. PSG. It was a crazy game. It was Villa lost 5-4 on aggregate. Man, I forgot what podcast I was listening to today that they were saying. A part of me, like, I know when we were talking about whether we want Atletico or Real Madrid, we're thinking like who's a better matchup for us. And a part of me, and again, do not hear what I'm not saying, Laurent, because I know CJ will understand what I'm saying. Do not hear what I'm not saying, Laurent. PSG is a better team than Villa. However, Unai Emery has had Arteta's number. He has a grudge against Arsenal. He's the reason why we didn't win the Premier League last year, because of that Villa game. And if we were to face Villa in the Champions League semifinal, I would actually be scared that Unai Emery would outclass Arteta, just because of the dynamic and the fact that he's impacted our season so many times. Not that I'm happy that it's PSG, because I think PSG is something unreal, and like the players that they have. But I'm happy that we don't have to face a storyline of like, can Unai come back to the Emirates and upset again and like all that stuff, because I think that would be a bigger talking point. I don't know if it's the same for you, CJ, but I'm happy to kind of avoid that those headlines.
Yeah, no, I think in the back of my mind that would have been playing through my head too. Like it would have given me flashbacks to Villarreal semifinal in the Europa League when Unai knocked us out. And there's something about playing English opposition, right? We play them all the time. We study each other. We know each other well. Like there's already that inner, studying and knowledge of one another where they kind of maybe know how to play us, and they've had our number a few times over the recent years. So it would have been a tricky tie to play them over two legs. So I'm almost pretty excited to look forward to this PSG game. Again, it's different opposition in Europe. They'll play a different way, and they'll probably come at us more again because they're not a team that likes to sit. So they'll come at us, and I think that actually works in our favor when teams come at us. So we're gonna talk about that and break that one down, I guess, when we get there. But yeah, no, it's gonna be an exciting tie. One I still expect us to get through.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically with this game against Villa, and I don't know what your guys' thoughts are, because I think you guys probably watched the game from beginning to end. I only caught late second half, but like to my understanding, from what I saw, like what was Unai saying with that lineup? Like he didn't start strong for Villa.
He did, but I think he just wanted. I think he wanted more control in the midfield, because I think what he lacked in the first leg is that he didn't play Amadou Onana, and he played him in the second leg, and he wanted to have some like strength in the midfield so that he could have his wing backs actually bombing forward, because he played Boubacar Kamara and Amadou Onana to protect Konsa and Pau Torres, and he wanted to let his wing backs actually stretch the field, because what was happening in the first leg is they didn't have that solid stability in the midfield, and they were getting outclassed by Neves, Vitinha, and Fabian Ruiz, and they didn't have the strength up there. I think Jalen Ramsey was a little bit harsh getting dropped, but I think it worked. Clearly it worked, because they scored 3 and they almost had the comeback. But yeah, I think the lineup was strong.
Well, I'm seeing Asensio is on the bench. Watkins is on the bench. I mean, I guess those are the big two that stand out. But and then he like late in the game, the part that I tuned in, I heard Rashford was cooking all game, and then he takes Rashford off. Like I wouldn't have taken him off at that point. Like it's a little
Yeah,
ballsy at that
that
point.
was a weird.
He's one
Yeah,
of your best players on the day.
I wouldn't say
yeah.
cooking all game, but yeah, no, he
He was making
finished.
good runs.
But the beginning of the game, he was looking more so like Man U Rashford, and I think I even posted that in the group. I don't know if you guys remember me saying that.
Mm.
Where you're one on one, right? He had those passes, those critical passes that it's almost like it looks like a counter attack, right? Then he's one on one with the defender there on his side of the wing,
Hmm.
and it's like, why are you showing hesitation? Why? It's almost like you're scared to look to beat him. And then plus, for me, I'm not a big fan of Rashford in the sense where I think he's more so like a direct winger. He utilizes his pace, which I mean,
Hmm.
right, if you're fast, yeah, I guess. But in terms of like, being tricky, like the trickery, and I feel like if he had that trickery, there's a lot of times this games where he could have got away with it, man. Like a Vinny Jr. in those types of situations, he's looking to get past, right? And mind you, this was I think when the game was still 0-0, right? So these
Yep.
were at key moments, right? Yeah. So no, that's just what I wanted to say in
He's
regards
had
to
a
that.
lot of lapses in concentration. He's not tracking back a lot. Like I think I said it in the, I think I said it in the last pod. I would have started Ollie Watkins because I think in the game like this, if you're gonna play a strong midfield with Boubacar Kamara and Amadou Onana, like you need someone to hold the ball up to take that pressure on and have John McGinn and Morgan Rogers bombing forward and then having that overlap by your wing backs. I don't think Rashford was it. I think if they had started with Ollie Watkins and then if they went down and sacrificed one of the holding midfielders and brought on Rashford to cause an overload, I think that would have been better because John McGinn can do a job in the midfield. I don't think when I went with a wrong lineup, but I think there was some questionable things that he did. But again, ultimately, he's done a great job for Villa.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
they're they have to try to secure top five spots again in the Champions League next year. But hey, bring on PSG.
But sorry, the one
Oh
thing
yeah.
we did not mention, which to me it was very key this game, is that keeper error. Martinez, I think it was either I can't remember if it was the first goal or second goal that PSG got, but man, he's coming out to collect the ball. I know there was confusion between him
Oh
and his
yes,
defender,
yes,
but
yeah.
as a keeper, you you have to right? Secure the package. Like you're coming in like that to right to I think he slid in to intercept the cross, right? It was a low ground cross. It was in his arm and then it wasn't. You see what I'm saying? And that's how they eventually I think I don't know who it bounced off to and they just put the ball in the back of the net.
I think it was
That's a goal, right?
Mendes.
Yeah, Mendes, yes, it was Mendes, right? That's one goal, right? Remove that goal and it's looking like four.
Yeah.
Right? Assuming right the the outcome is relatively the same, but yeah, I think that goal was is pretty deflating. Mind you, they still came back and did the thing after that, but no, that was a key play in that game for me.
Dortmund, good fight, but ultimately Barca was too much. Barca did lose on the night, but moved on to aggregate 5-3. Um, I think it's as much as I want to say, there's been a lot of noise coming out that Arsenal's the favorite to win it all. I think Barca's the clear-cut favorite right now um, for the
Over
Champions
Clear
Milan,
League
cut,
over Milan.
over Milan. Yes, even though
clear cut.
even though I personally believe that Inter is going to beat Barca, I think when you're talking about the stats and what the projections
Mm,
that the bookies are going to come out with, I think
right,
Barca is
right.
going to be favored.
Okay, nice. Yeah, yeah. No, I think that
Like,
makes
like
sense.
I'm being honest. Like, I think Inter is going to do a job. Um, I guess we can talk about Inter, but yeah, Inter they held on against Bayern. Um, Spurs, Eric Dyer and Harry Kane, they actually did a job, and um, you know, they were able to keep things close. But Inter, man, Lautaro Martinez, he is. so clinical. He's like I think when Andre Berta came in, he said like he's looking at Lautaro to bring him to the Emirates. Man, like he is so fucking clinical. Whenever Inter need a goal, whenever they need some change, he's that strike, and that's why I think they are going to beat Barca, in my opinion. I don't think Barca can hold Inter over two legs. And Italians, when they get to this stage of a tournament, they know how to defend. They know how to keep these young players out of the net. So in my opinion, I think Inter is going to do a job. Um, but the real sad talking point in this is um, for Bayern fans, this is the last time that you'll see Thomas Muller in the Champions League um, because his contract runs out in end of June. And from the looks of it, he's going to go to either Saudi or the Turkish league. Um, he's a class act, Thomas Muller. He's been there, done that. He's done it multiple times. Um, he doesn't have he's not gifted with pace or strength or anything, but his football IQ, I would argue that's second to none.
Yeah, now funny, I've heard that somewhere. Someone was talking about him just in that manner, like with Thomas Miller, there's no athleticism, you know. He's not strong, but there's something about him. He just knows where to be, knows the right pass to make, right? It's simple football. It's almost like he does the basic things at a very high level, right? And like you
Mm-hmm.
said, man, it almost looks like yeah, in terms of like even reading the game, his ability to read the game is above a lot of other players. Uh, yeah.
It's really sad because he loves Bayern. Like he's the definition of like a lifer. Um, I think it's gonna hit him really hard when if he leaves Bayern, and from the looks of it, he is gonna leave because I don't think Bayern's gonna offer him another contract. But don't be shocked if he comes back either as a coach or a staff or something in the future. Um, quickly coming to the other European competitions. I know we spent a lot of time talking about the Chelsea. Obviously, Chelsea advanced. They did lose on the night 2-1, but they did advance to go to the next round. The clear-cut favorites, in our opinion, to win the Conference League. Um, Spurs. Spurs were not Spursy. Without Heung-min Son, they fucking pulled out a 1-0 victory over Frankfurt. Um, I know we talked about this last time. Do we genuinely think, like, I want to pose this to you guys? Do you guys genuinely think Ange Postecoglou is a problem, or do you think it's the hierarchy and just the fan base of Spurs? Because I know when we were in our banter era, like Unai Emery was an amazing coach, and a lot of other um, fan bases were saying that the fans are the problem. It's the hierarchy, it's the ownership and stuff like that. And now that Spurs are going through this, what do you think? Do you think it's the hierarchy, or do you genuinely think it's the coach?
Honestly, I got no opinion. I don't know too much about him to give a valid input, so I'll have to skip this one.
CJ, what do you think?
I think a combination of both. Like Ange is a decent coach, but I don't know if he suits Spurs. I don't remember if I was saying this on this podcast or talking to a friend of mine who's a Spurs fan. And again, I don't know how anyone wakes up one day and decides they want to be a Spurs fan, aside from those who already live in North London. You know what I mean? And you're from that part of the town. It's like us here, like me being from Toronto, and I'm a Maple Leafs fan, even though I don't support hockey. But if I were to have to choose a team, I have to support the Leafs because I'm Toronto by affiliation. It's like that's the only way you can support Spurs. My Spurs mate, he's older than me, and I'm like, so you were around during the times when you saw the successful United and Arsenal teams in the Premier League era. How did you wake up one morning and decide that you want to support Tottenham? It just doesn't make any sense. But anyway, so I think I was telling him that Spurs, like they're a cursed club because they've had good managers over the years, like Conte and Mourinho, and the whole thing was that, oh, those guys are washed, you know. But even when they've left, like Jose Mourinho in particular, he's left Spurs and gone on to still win silverware. So it just kind of goes to show that Spurs, you know, is a problem. They're just a cursed club. Levy, he's a basket case of an owner. Sorry, I think our owners are bad, but Levy's he's just as bad over there. He doesn't necessarily make the right decisions. Like he's more his football knowledge isn't the greatest. Like you got managers and you got owners who like again, Roman Abramovich, like there's owners who don't necessarily know the technical side of the game and things like that. But you know, Roman Abramovich he had the passion, so he was a good owner because he had the passion, and he wanted his club to be successful. So he put the money down in order to get his team to success. Whereas Levy and some of these other owners, like they do things from a business perspective and what they think is right for business. And Levy, he's just that. You know, he doesn't have anyone in his ear talking to him and guiding him and helping him make the right decisions, because things like sacking Jose Mourinho before a cup final, a Jose Mourinho who knows how to win cup finals, like that was one of the stupidest things that he did at the time, a couple of years ago. And so, again, I think just the way the club is run is not great. Again, it's the history of the Tottenham, as Chiellini once said. So they're just naturally a cursed club. They're not destined for anything good. And Postecoglou, he's a good coach, but he's just, I think, at the wrong club, because it doesn't suit him. And I think I did say this to my Spurs mate, where I think that relationship first broke down between Ange and the fans. Again, when you're talking about what's the bigger picture, you know, is the fan base part of the problem as well. There's a broken relationship between Spurs fans and the manager ever since the game Man City Spurs last season, where again Spurs fans were cheering their own team losing at the expense of Arsenal winning the league, right? And then Ange came out and said he didn't agree with that and why he doesn't understand what that's all about. Why are you're cheering for your team to lose? Ever since then, that relationship has broken down, and it's strung into this season as well. Those broken relationships, again, you see after a lot of games, you know, Stamford Bridge recently and a couple other games where Ange is kind of giving it all that to the fans because the fans are telling him he doesn't know what he's doing. And there's just a lot of back and forth. Maybe the Spurs fans don't understand the style of play he's trying to implement. Maybe his style of play is a little bit too, pragmatic, and he's a little bit too stubborn, and he only knows one way. Like he doesn't have the players to maybe do what he wants to do, and he's not going to get the backing from that ownership to be able to implement the style that he wants, I think, in full. So that's where the relationship, I think, is broken between the two. But funny enough, again, my Spurs mate said this to me, that we're here bantering them and, you know, talking about the poor position that they're in. They find themselves in the semifinals now, you know, and Ange must be doing something right from the cup competition perspective. He's got them to a semifinal, and they actually have a chance to win it. Like, we can say what we want to say, you know, they're in a competition where, again, and this is where they've lucked out, because when we were in the Europa League, we used to have to play teams that dropped down from the Champions League, and I think this year they changed it where you're not playing against any team that drops down from the Champions League. You're just playing all Europa League teams. So the final four that's left is Spurs, United, Athletic Club, and Bodo Glimt. Like, if you
Spurs got Bodo Glimt, yeah, and they can go through.
Any of those teams can win it. Like, and Spurs should be expected to get past Bodo Glimt. And so my Spurs mate said to me, you know, if Arsenal, you know, we're in the position that we're in, you know, even in the league, you know, we're in a much better position. We're not where we want to be, but in a comparison to a Spurs, like we're much ahead of them, you know, in terms of the status of the club and where we're at in our stage. But he said to me, he's like, if Arsenal don't win the Champions League, because that's the only trophy that we can win left. So if we don't win the Champions League and finish second in our league, 20 plus points above Spurs finishes 15th, but they win the Europa League. Who's had a better season? You know, one could say that Spurs might have had a better season if they end up winning the Europa League and we don't win anything, even though we finish second in the league and we maybe get to a semifinal or a final. So it's very fine margins, and that's how football works. Like, it's trophy success at the end of the day. And so I'm almost in the back of my mind a little bit like, shit, Spurs, you know, despite their turmoil, they could still win a trophy. And I guess the same goes for United as well.
Yeah, I don't think United get past Bilbao, because the final is in Bilbao, and I think Athletic Club are gonna come out swinging because they want to play in front of their fans. And like, honestly, I guess to segue to the United game, like they barely got through. It was one of the wildest games that I've seen in a long time. 5-4. They scored 3 goals with like 6 minutes left in double extra time. Like, from the 116th minute, they scored 3 goals. The wildest thing I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, Spurs, they should beat Bodo Glimt and they should be in the finals. Um, I thought Lazio were going to beat Bodo Glimt, and I don't know what the fuck Lazio was doing. Um, but but yeah, like just quickly going back, like the one thing that I appreciate about Ange Postecoglou is he's consistent. He's consistent in his messaging, and he always says, and even after this match, he did say in his presser, he's like, a lot of the fans who thought I'm a bad coach and I don't know what I'm doing, but now they think that I'm a good coach because I just won a game. Like I haven't changed anything. My game style, everything is the same. So he's very consistent in his messaging, and I think at some points, like Spurs have to understand, like you like the fact that they were able to draw the likes of Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte to that club, which, with all due respect, I'm not just saying this as an Arsenal fan, you are not a big club, Spurs. You are not a big club. You're not at the level of Arsenal, Chelsea, United, Man City. Like the fact that you were able to draw a coach who's won everything to your team, like just hold that for a second. You could have won something. You could have won a trophy if you didn't get rid of Jose. And now that you have Ange, like you can see what he's trying to do. Like when Spurs have their full lineup, they actually play decent football. It wasn't too long ago when Spurs were sitting at top of the league. Remember last year? They were sitting at top of the league for quite a long time. So like it's not that Ange doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. They also had a lot of injury problems this year as well. Right? But their second team, their bench wasn't as strong as the likes of, for example, Arsenal, because we were able to kind of keep ourselves in there. So but anyways, enough Spurs talk. They're yeah. But United, I know we were messaging in the group chat a lot. That was fucking insane. Like, 4-2, 116th minute, Bruno Fernandes gets a penalty, and then the game's over. I think you were saying before we started recording. Do you want to share with the listeners about the commentary? How it was
Oh,
so like negative and like
yeah, yeah,
dire, and then all of a sudden it just like boom boom like
yeah,
United, theater of
yeah. No,
dreams, we're fucking back. Like
man, yeah. The change in tone, the irony that they were, pretty much, not disrespecting, but nah, you could say disrespecting the fact that they had who they're like. I quote, look who we were depending on, Kobe Mainu and Harry Maguire.
the
Up top.
same Harry Maguire, sorry, Laurent, the same Harry Maguire that United fans wanted him to leave.
Oh yeah, I
They
remember those
fucking
days.
abused the shit out of him. Abused, like,
Yeah, yeah.
they wanted him, like, stripped. They abused the absolute fuck out of him. And when we talk
Oh
about
man.
mentality, we talk about mentality for Saka, but can we just appreciate Harry Maguire's mentality? He decided, he said, you know what? Fuck you. I'm going to stay. And I'm gonna prove to you that I can play for this club. Like, if that doesn't say mentality, then I don't know what does. And he got the winning goal. Sorry, he got he got the winning
Yeah, the
goal.
yeah the winning
He
goal.
got the
Yeah,
fucking winning goal
the winning goal.
as a center back. Dude, I don't know. Like football is
Now kudos to him, man. For real, kudos to him. Um,
fuck, man. But like Leon, what the fuck are you doing?
Fumbled.
but I mean, they were down 10 men. Let's
No, it
let
doesn't
let's
matter.
no no let's be real. Let's be real. Let's be real. Let's be real. At
4 minutes, Laurent. Four
no
Yeah,
minutes.
it's
4
embarrassing, bro.
minutes. Even when Bruno scored, 4 minutes, four
mm,
minutes. Take the ball to the flag, make them foul you. Do 4 minutes, and you would have won.
yeah, that's
You would
true.
have
Embarrassing.
advanced. 4 minutes.
Shambles, bro.
I told you this before we started recording. I said the moment you realize that Leon was at 10 men is when Bruno Fernandes scored that goal. Prior to that, like they were 10 men all of the first half of extra time and all the way up to 116th minute when Bruno got the penalty. 4 minutes. Yeah, no excuse. No fucking excuse there.
Laka
Yeah,
scored two, no?
yeah,
Yeah,
he
lack
did.
of score penalty.
It's crazy though, because after that goal, bro, the celebration was as though they just won it. Like it's over. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and yeah, this guy ran to like when they run to the team on the
Supporters,
sidelines
yeah.
and the
Yep.
managers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was that kind of celebration, bro. I'm like looking like, damn, United, even United thought they were done.
Yeah, the fans were
But
leaving.
yeah, the fans were leaving.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. So yeah, that's crazy.
Oh man. Well, we got a crazy weekend coming up in Premier League. There's a couple games that I highlighted. Just so we got a little bit of a talking point heading into the weekend games. Fulham welcome Chelsea to Craven Cottage. Um, yeah, not much to say. Bournemouth lost Monday night. Chelsea just lost 2-1. Chelsea looking to stay alive in the Champions League hunt. Um, Big thing is, like, Laurent, do you think Chelsea come out a little bit better than Ipswich in this Thursday night performance? Do you think they show up to Craven Cottage? Because Fulham's no slouch. They're a good team.
Bro, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know what the fuck Chelsea's gonna do.
Fair,
I got
fair.
I got no clue. I don't know if we're going to see players that are going to show up, a manager with a solid system allowing his players to play freely with creativity and all of that, or if we're just going to see fucking disappointment, bro. Like it's one of those things you don't know at this point. You just hope for the best, you know?
No,
So, yeah.
I don't know. Well, Chelsea right now you're sitting in sixth place. If you win, you jump up to
Fifth,
fourth
yeah.
place.
Oh, fourth.
Yeah, goal
Wait, goal
differential.
difference. Oh yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. Fourth,
yeah, you
yeah,
guys would jump
fourth right,
into
of course,
fourth.
yeah.
So it's a must win, in my opinion. Um,
Man,
Forest with the pressure on now that they dropped to fourth place with Newcastle absolutely dismantling. Who did they face?
Crystal
Palace.
Palace, five
Yeah,
zero.
five
Palace,
five
holy
nil.
smokes.
Like Newcastle's winning streak. They're third place now. So Forest pressure's on. The pressure is fully on, and they Spurs. They have Spurs, and I don't know how Spurs are going to come. I don't know how they're going to play after an emotional Thursday night game in Frankfurt. Maybe they take the positivity and they go on and beat Forest, but um, it looks like the rug's being pulled underneath Forest fans, and they're hanging on by a thread because if they lose this game, um, and Chelsea jump ahead of them, like honestly, I don't I, I don't think they make it into a Champions League spot. I think they still get Europe, but I don't think they get a Champions League spot. They have to win this game. I don't know,
I agree.
yeah. CJ, what do you think? You think I'm right in saying that they have to win this game? It's a must win.
For Forest?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I've been telling you guys all this time about. Well, actually, Murda, you've kind of been agreeing with me that, the Forest is kind of starting to, I think they're starting to come to a realization that this extended honeymoon period might be coming to an end, man. It's still pretty tight, and at this stage of the season, crunch time, they're not used to being in this position. This is new territory for them. So, yeah, don't be surprised if they slip out, man. And it would be sad after being in such a comfortable position all this time, looking nailed on for top
Mhm.
four. Now they're hanging on by a thread. The game I'm looking forward to the most is the Villa Newcastle game. That's going to be
Yep.
a
That's,
crazy
that's
game.
the next game. Villa, 3 points out of a Champions League spot. Newcastle right behind Arsenal, 4 points behind Arsenal. If they win this game and somehow we lose or we draw, like they'll be right on our tails. They'll be right on our tails for second place. But yeah, Villa after a crazy performance against PSG, like they need to win. Villa have to win. They can't tie. They can't lose. If they want to get into the Champions League again, they have to win because the pack is looking crazy. I still think Arsenal secures second spot, but right behind them, Newcastle 59 points, Forest 57, City 55, Chelsea 54, Villa 54. So from third to seventh, like you're 5 points. Like that's a 1 game swing. So
The reason why this one is extra intriguing too is because again, like this is how things can just change so quickly in football. Where Villa just get knocked out of the Champions League midweek, they were riding high. Boom, you're out of the Champions League, and then out of after this weekend, if they lose, they could be out of Champions League contention. So their
correct.
season can just collapse in a
Yep.
week. So it'll be interesting, especially with this one being at Villa Park. How will the fans? They're gonna have a big part to play, the fans, in helping their team get back up for this one and bounce back after a disappointing result midweek. So the fans are gonna have to help them get over the line against Newcastle and get the 3 points. And those are two good teams going to be going at it. So I think that's going to be an exciting
Very
game to
good
watch
game.
this weekend.
And don't get it twisted. Newcastle have in my opinion, they have probably the top 3 midfield in the Premier League this year. Tonali, Guimaraes, and Joe Linton. The work rate, the tenacity, the ability to kind of make those passes, and they're so direct. Like it's going to be a very good game, and I'm going to try to tune in for that game in the middle of my move just to see what's going on, because like that game's going to be insane. This game's going to be a good watch. And obviously we have to give a shout out. Liverpool face Leicester. I mean, the Prem's been wrapped up since January, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't expect much from Leicester, but have to just give Liverpool a little airtime because they
Why does it feel like Liverpool play an easy team every week? What the hell's going on?
Yeah,
bro, because it's just me. I keep looking every week who they play, and it seems like teams at fucking bottom of the table. I haven't. When's the last time they played a difficult game? What the hell?
Their next game after this is going to be Spurs, which I don't even know if that's a difficult game or not. And then
after you guys play them in like 3 weeks or something?
Yeah, and then after Spurs, they face Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and then Arsenal at Anfield. So, I mean, they're gonna have it wrapped before Arsenal at Anfield. We're gonna give them the guard of honor, so it doesn't really matter at that point. But yeah, Ipswich, Arsenal predictions. Like, there's not really much to say. Ipswich, bottom of the table. What do you guys think?
We don't play next week, right? Like midweek, sorry.
No, we don't play.
The Champions League is not till the following week. So yeah, Arteta might go strong in this game just to keep the team fresh. Probably still a couple changes, but I still think it'll be relatively strong. Because yeah, like we don't play next week. So
I think one year he will get a start. Maybe Trossard will get a start. I can see him resting Declan Rice. Or maybe keeping him off the bench.
Yeah. Ipswich last result. Oh, 2-2 against none other than Chelsea.
I'd Stamford Bridge too, might I add.
They almost won, right? They almost won.
Yeah, they did. They almost won. Liam Delap, if he had converted, breakaway.
So I don't know if I should look into that too much and Ipswich is a problem because they almost beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, or I don't know if that says more about Chelsea, but I don't know. Tough to call.
Did you need an extension?
Oh, no. I just thought as the one leading the board. I just felt like as the one leading the board at the moment, I have the right to go last,
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to say...
I want to point out, Laurent, Murdoch tried to pull a fast one yesterday at the bar. I don't know if it was the tequila talking to him, but the man, when Martinelli scored to put us up 2-1, the man goes, "Oh, I got that prediction. I'm getting the point this week." I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yo, why you gotta out me like this, bro? What the fuck?
Oh, man, because man's coming with chest, so I gotta make sure I get that in there.
Yo, what the
I was so confident, and then he goes and checks we check the pod, we check the table or the scoreboards from last week, and man goes, "Oh shit, I predicted 1-1." Bro, the man almost fooled me like on some gaslighting shit. I'm like, "Wait, what? You predicted 2-1 Arsenal?" He said, "Yeah, man, I predicted that. I got it right this week." Bro, I'm like, "Yo, go check the receipts real quick."
Bro. Okay. Anyways, we're not talking about the past. We're talking about the present.
Man, trying to pull a fast one on us.
Listen, I have 3-0 Arsenal.
Damn,
We'll go
that's
3-0
what I was gonna
Arsenal.
go for.
Damn, eh?
I was gonna say exactly that.
You're gonna stick with it or you're gonna change it now?
3-1 for me. I'd say 3-1 Arsenal.
3-1.
Mm.
Yeah, I want to see 2-1 Arsenal.
2-1, okay.
Yeah, 2-1 Arsenal.
You guys want to do extra point for naming one goal scorer or no?
Jeez. One goal scorer.
You got to name one goal scorer for an extra point. It's only if you guys want to do it. If you don't want to do it, it's not a problem. I get it.
Hold on, I'm trying to figure out how that makes sense though. Like 1 point for like say I say Saka, Laurent says Martinelli.
No, but you have to
you have to get
score. No, you have to get like the score correct. If you get the score correct, then you also get an extra point if you get a correct goal scorer. You're not gonna just get a point. You're not gonna just get a point for getting the goal scorer correct because all of us are gonna predict one person and we're all gonna get a point.
Okay, so what if? Okay, not true because we went for different score predictions.
Saka.
You're saying Saka, okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Marino.
Bro, that guy's not touching that game.
That's my prediction.
Yeah. No, I think you got the scoreline right though. 3-0. I was gonna say that. I'm not saying it because you said it.
Say it. Go with it.
Yeah, just say it. It's fine.
I don't wanna. Nah. I feel like I'm piggybacking.
It also helps you keep ahead of him or keep pace with him. You know.
Bro, I mean, how many? We have 6 more predictions after this.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, CJ, you're at
Champions League.
CJ, you're at 2?
Yeah, CJ's at 2.
Oh, so okay. Wait, I'm not even far off. I just took that in.
I mean, none of us are far off each other.
It's fucking 1 point, bro. You want to switch back to 3-0? This is the final chance I'm giving you. 3-0 or not?
I'm trying to think, is Ipswich really not going to score, bro? Like, they got nothing.
No, I think your 2-1 prediction was actually good. Not going to lie.
Now CJ's playing mind games.
I said they were going to score.
With this grin. This guy.
I said they were going to score. Yeah, my prediction. So.
I'm going to say 2-1. I'm going to say 2-1 Saka. Yeah, I'm leaving it.
CJ, who's your goal scorer?
Leandro Bossard, aka Trossard.
Okay.
Jeez.
All right. Well, again, just want to remind everyone there was no remontada. It was a REMON-NADA. Madrid fans, hopefully in Madrid they teach you how to cook rice. You don't know, typically have the lid closed. You don't leave the lid open when you're cooking rice. Thank you for doing that at the Bernabéu. Because you made definitely rice cook a little bit better.
Wasn't the lid closed?
It was closed. That's why rice was cooking.
Yeah, that's what. But I'm saying after this performance, bro. If I'm a Madrid fan, bro, I ain't cooking rice no more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, cooking couscous instead.
Yeah, like for real, bro.
Fuck. Oh man, but yeah, leave the final words with you, fellas.
Yeah, no, CJ, take it away.
Yo, man, semifinals of the champs. That's where I'm at, man. That's where I'm at. I'm pretty giddy. I'm not gonna lie. I still haven't come down from the highs of yesterday, so I'll be celebrating all up until the next game, which is over a week away. But almost 2 weeks away. But yeah, man, I'm super excited for it, man. I think hopefully we have another big performance and we'll break down that semifinal game when it comes around. But yeah, man, we'll be here. Looking forward to it. Continue to like and subscribe and all the good stuff.
All right. No, same thing. Excited for the Champions League. This is I think it's been quite a long time since we've seen 2 semifinals where honestly it's a toss-up. It could go either way. Yeah, I think all 4 fans from all 4 teams are going to be very nervy, especially if the first legs are played relatively well. Imagine, you have 2 first legs where it's almost like a stalemate, right? And you can be looking at a very spectacular return games, right? So no, excited for that. Like I said, hoping to see Saka bring that confidence, that same that same level of a heat audacity that he brought in when he stepped up to that penalty. I think if he brings that for PSG, he can be a difference maker. So excited for that. Other than that, you already know where my heart is at. So I'll be tuning into the Conference League as well. Chelsea, despite our terrible performance today, I'm still a fan. I'm still out here supporting my team, and hopefully we improve and win the damn thing. Love everyone at home. Stay tuned and subscribe.
As always, adios.